Welcome to our podcast, where we discuss and meet with people, businesses, and trades that have motivated and inspired us along the way of creating our own business, River Road Brewing and Hops. I'm your host, Nikki Andrew, the original River Road Blonde, and this is Down River Road. Welcome back to another episode of Down River Road. I'm here with a very special person to me, special to my heart. It's like that sister that you always wanted that you didn't have. Although I do have a sister, so sorry, Sheila. Number two. Welcome, Sandi.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So first of all, I always like to talk about the beer that we're drinking first. And we are drinking Zesty Farmer. It is a lemon zested pale ale. So super tasty, citrusy, light, refreshing. Good summer lawnmower beer.
It is my favorite.
Yeah.
River Road beer.
Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you.
Sandi has been a huge influence to me as far as farming, as far as my YouTube channel. It just goes on and on and on.
Oh, that's really nice.
Don't cry.
I won't cry. I won't cry today. Lambing hasn't totally begun and made me exhausted.
So I did see this morning, we watch Sandi's YouTube channel all the time. And
which one do I pick?
You just help yourself. I did see this morning that you had some surprises this morning, I guess they're not really surprises at this point, are they?
No, these ones were planned.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. It's nice when
things happen on purpose.
Yeah. When you actually plan things and they come to fruition. Yes. Because living on a farm, that doesn't always happen. So it's nice when it does, for sure. Yes, we got some new little babies.
Oh, they're so cute. I love them. I do miss lambing.
And you think I do it all the time, and the other ones aren't very old, and I already miss the little. The first little.
Yeah. It's like having a newborn baby.
Yes.
That nice little, I don't like, the smell is not the same, but they definitely have that cute factor to them that they don't have as soon as they're like a month old even.
Yeah, and they don't want to be near you. No. That's part of it too.
Yeah, they love you for the first month, and then they're like, goodbye.
Bye.
I don't want to be anything. I just let mine out this morning into the front paddock, like a little tiny paddock. So the little lambs were like, what is this? This is
loving
grass.
it.
This is cool. Yes.
Loving it.
So Sandi actually brought me our first ram in September of last year, I think it was, Rusty. And Rusty's, we always call him the famous YouTube sheep because everybody knows who Rusty is. And Rusty just got a couple of new friends from, again, Sandi. Sorry, David.
How are they doing?
They're doing awesome.
They're
doing awesome. Yeah, they're Noah's a little bit more shy. And we named the other one Barley.
Nice.
And he's busy.
Barley's busy.
He's always with Rusty. The two of them get into mischief together, and it's hilarious. It makes me laugh every time.
It's great.
So we met. Well, I met you through YouTube.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Crazy enough.
That's the truth. Yeah. And you don't live very far away from us.
No. What are we, 25 minutes from each other?
I don't think it's
not
that.
Even. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which we had just so little backstory for you, just because you probably didn't know this. It was the beginning of COVID, and we had decided to get some sheep. And so I was in the process of looking at how to raise sheep, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I started to YouTube it. And of course, there pops up Sandi's head. And I was like, I'm going to watch her. And my daughter started watching with me. And sure, lo and behold, it became a routine. And then David started watching. And so you're very entertaining.
Good. I kept you coming back, which is kind of the goal of YouTube.
Exactly.
Is to keep you coming back. Yeah.
And it just kind of stemmed from there. And then I think you were driving through Exeter one day, because you never really know where people are from.
That's right.
And I think you were driving through Exeter, and I'm like, hey,
I know where that is.
I know exactly where that is. And David's like, I wonder. So we looked out a little further, and of course it just stemmed from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a beautiful friendship it has become.
It is. Yeah. And it's funny, we've got into many conversations, and it's like, you can only talk about those things with certain people, and it just flowed, and it was very natural. And I'm very drawn to people like that.
Same.
That you just all your like your shields come down, and it's just very natural, and
you relax a little bit.
Yeah.
It's not that,
and no beer involved.
No beer involved,
which is quite a thing.
It is. It for sure is, because I know I'm pretty shy.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where if you have the right person, you're with the right person, you can just kind of let everything go, and it just becomes a natural friendship, which is lovely.
And it's probably why my husband Mark and I work so well, because he's very much like you as well, like a little more introverted, but such an easy person. You're good listeners. And I think for someone like me that just wants to talk all the time, it's just I think that's the difference. Like we're compatible that way.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of people in my life are like, my close people around me are very much that way.
You have to have that person that kind of jives with what you
the yin to my yang.
Yin to your yang. That's what we'll call it. So speaking of Mark, you also work with your husband.
I sure do.
Tell me about that.
That's fun. So, Mark and I got together during a summer work program. So we knew from we were work partners. So we knew, and we got together within the first week. So we we did know from the very beginning we could work together. Again, he's a very easygoing guy, thank goodness. And he's a very good teacher. Yeah. So I'm very drawn to intellectuals as well, because I ask a million questions, which now, how long have we been married? 20 something years later, drives him crazy, but I think it's still endearing that I ask him a million one questions. I think he likes it. I think it makes him feel smart.
I think so.
Well, who does not want to feel smart?
I think everyone wants to feel smart.
So we knew right off the bat, the working part was never really going to be a problem. However, we're both very, very strongly independent. So we both need our identity. We need to have something that makes us want to get up in the morning. And that doesn't necessarily, we like different things. So I really, really like to farm with animals. I like to be surrounded with animals. I like the challenge of them and the consistent inconsistency of them. Whereas he really does love the land. He loves growing plants. He loves learning how to conserve. He loves just how all that changes and how Mother Nature has the ultimate, control of everything and trying to figure out a way around her. So it works really well because our systems very much, they integrate with each other very, very well. And we both use each other we both help each other when we need it, for sure. Like I do help with the grain quite a bit. He helps with the sheep if I'm desperate, and he helps me fix things because I do tend to break things, which I think probably drives him crazy as well. Yeah. But it works well because we know each other's strengths, we know our weaknesses, and we can really jive with each other that way. We can fill in each other's gaps a little bit.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, when it comes to work.
It is difficult. There are days where you are at each other's throats. Yep. I know. I'm assuming so. Oh. It is. Yeah. Cheers. Just saying.
There's a lot of this that gets drank at the end of the day sometimes.
Same. I mean, it does help that we own a brewery. So
no, it might. Maybe it does.
Yeah. But I know David and I work well together, but we also are the same. He has his thing, I have my thing.
Right.
And we're very much barely ever meet in the middle. But because we have such different ways of thinking, we're able to work together.
Right.
And I know people ask me that all the time, like, how do you work with your husband all the time? You're with him every day, day in, day out. And I'm like, yeah, but we're really not. Like, we're on the same property, but when you have a big property, you don't ever see them.
And a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like, we can go a full day. I'll see him at lunch and I'll see him at the end of the day. And because I've got my own roles and responsibilities, I've got to keep 500 sheep alive, and
which is somewhat important.
Which is kind of important on a daily basis. And during basically from April till December, he is in a tractor, on a tractor, or scouting his fields. Yeah. Like, it's just even the crop work now just seems to be an ongoing, like, there's no break now. Whereas I feel like when you're growing up, it just felt different. It didn't feel like it was such a rat race like it does now.
I think it's
we're doing more.
We're doing more. I think that there's more people to feed. There's more
pressure.
Yeah.
More money on the line.
More people watching what you're doing, which is a huge thing, I think. And it's not just because you're YouTube. No. I think it's just worldwide. People are paying more attention to farming and not necessarily agreeing with the way that we do things.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we have a lot of people at the farm that don't agree that we eat our cows. And I know, sorry, yes, we eat our cows. Yeah. They're Highland cows. They're beef cattle. Yeah. Same with the sheep. We get that all the time. They think that they should be fuzzy little pets. And I'm like, we wouldn't have them. If they didn't have a purpose, we wouldn't have them.
Right.
And I say, and the same with the crops. If you're spraying the fields, you'll have people the haters, I like to call them, like, just leave me alone. I'm just trying to farm here. Yeah.
And I've learned a lot through doing YouTube. For the most, like, that has been the greatest experience of all, just because for me, I've developed a lot of empathy for my viewer. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of me just sitting there and telling you to just trust me, I'm the expert on this. I'm not. The best thing that I ever learned is that I'm not the expert, and I'm going to learn, but I'm going to take you guys with me. And that's the biggest thing farming. We haven't been able to do it because social media hasn't been a thing forever and a day. But I think our biggest fallback is we have had such huge advancements in agriculture when we needed it, when farmers were going broke, which was through the 80s, through the 90s. Huge advancements came during that time that really helped keep farmers afloat. Yeah. But we didn't share it because there wasn't a lot of way. You're not going to wait for dial-up to do anything on anything to share whatever that may be, whatever scientific advances were made that were amazing.
Well, and even recognition. Like, recognition back then was an award that you would get, possibly. Right. But it was only shared in the farming community. It wasn't really shared outside of that farming community.
Even farming papers. I'm like, who reads that except for you? Like, you're literally, we talk about echo chambers and talking to ourselves. That's all we've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, we have the Ontario Farm, like, we have papers that are just literally, like, you're not going to put that on a news shelf.
Of stuff. Yeah.
Right. So we've never taken any of the public along for any of these advancements or just through the whole process so they can see and understand it and feel maybe not that like they've had a say in it, but that it's not a surprise. It's not like jammed down their throats. Yeah. Like, this is what you're going to eat and this is what you're going to like.
Yeah.
Right.
And like, these are your options, and this is where this came from, and this is why we do it this way. And
I just think, that was a big black hole of like huge advancements that I just wish social media was around maybe 10 years
back
earlier.
Then, I think it would have made life a little easier, and then the understanding would have already been there. Right. Whereas now we're just kind of touching the surface of it a little bit.
Oh, now we're just treading water. Yeah. We're like, and I guess that's why probably in the very beginning, that's probably why I started the channel. If I'm really honest with myself, I'm like, well, someone's got to do this. Like, someone's got to, just share what we're doing and just the story behind it.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's a huge advancement in the farming community because, and I know it's funny, just to toot your horn a little bit, I didn't realize so we're new to farming. Farming is new to us. I grew up on an apple orchard. And that's farming, but I was really young when we did that. Right. And my parents sold that, I guess it was a family farm. It got sold off. So I do remember bits and bobs of being on a farm, but it had been a long time. So starting up again, I lost all contact with any of the farming community. So it was like starting from scratch to get your, kind of wiggle in there and figure out who I need to talk to. And there's a lot of negativity around new farmers that maybe don't know what they're talking about. Yeah.
We can be horrible to our own people and not welcoming.
Helping to answer the questions that I had, it was a lot of, well, you shouldn't do that because you don't know what you're doing.
Or they're there.
Yeah.
Or you'll find out.
Yeah. It was a lot of that.
Yes.
You'll find out.
Yes.
Or you've got cows out. I hate that line. Oh,
you've got livestock. You've got dead stock.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like, that's what I really want to hear when I'm like helping a sick animal
and just figuring things out. And that's all we're trying to do is just figure it out.
That's right.
In the long run, none of us really know. I would hate somebody that said, I have all the answers and I know everything about it. There's no way you can't. No. And it's ever evolving. It's the same in any industry. If you can't keep evolving, you're not growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And changing. Like
and changing.
You might
so
change
important.
your mind. Like a practice we did probably 5 years ago, we probably aren't doing it now. Like it changes so fast, and there's always better ways to do things. And we try to surround ourselves with people that don't necessarily always just do it the way we do it or just the conventional way. We like seeing how other farmers do stuff.
We do for sure.
Yeah. Because because we do have to change and we do have to evolve and we have to be open-minded. And I think if we do that and we can set an example for other people that it's okay. It's okay to try different things. It's okay to be unconventional. This is my term for this year, is just it's okay to be unconventional.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge point because it's important that other farmers like me that are just learning, and I loosely call myself a farmer because it's such a loose term. We have cash crops, but it's like 30 acres of cash crops. It's not a lot. We have livestock, but we have a minimal amount of the livestock that we have, but it's enough that we get by on what we do.
Yeah.
And I very loosely use the term farmer.
Well, and we shouldn't even have to classify it, right?
No.
Like you are in the profession of farming and you are making a product that is made from
stemmed from farming
food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
It is.
It's in the agro world.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say. I'm in the agro world.
You're making people very happy.
Yeah. it's a different type of.
It's a great type of farming.
It's a great, sure it is. It's a new type of farming. But I know that it's important for people that are just starting out to realize that you can start out and you don't have to it doesn't have to stem from a family or anything. Like you started sheep farming fairly late in the game. Like you were, what was it, 2017?
So 2017 is when I started the channel, but 2012 is when I started. But, I was, from no experience at all, right?
That's remarkable.
I literally learned how to sheep farm through Google because I didn't know who to ask, because every farmer that I would go to, it would be very much like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until and when I say like that is like everyone said something different.
Yeah.
Because everyone farms in a way that works for them. So
which is fine.
Right. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find someone to replicate that I knew was the way I would want to farm.
Right.
And I had to figure that out myself. So, I mean, I guess that's why we go to school, is to learn the basics and the foundation of our professions.
Yep.
So I guess in saying that, I did take a very intensive course a few years after I started with the sheep, and that's what really turned the tide.
That was the Master
Shepherd's course. Yeah. So our provincial sheep organization actually puts this on, and we get a lot of experts that come in, like not farmers, just experts in their field. So a veterinarian, nutrition, extension people that worked for the Ontario government that dealt with sheep work. So genetics, we even brought in basically a business coach, and the whole point of the course was at the end of the day you had to develop a business plan,
which is crazy.
It was a great it was probably the most useful course. Even university's university, it's
not for everyone.
It sets the foundation for sure. Do I remember anything? Probably not. But that course, because it was something that I chose to do, and I was at that critical, they say with sheep farming, 3 years is that magic year that you're either in it or you're out.
Yeah.
Because there's life goes sideways those first 3 years trying to figure stuff out.
Really?
And and you seem to be doing fine.
Yeah. I have 6 sheep.
You're doing fine.
Yeah.
I should have started with 6. Yeah. If I wanted 3, I should have started. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, it was a real eye opener that you do need to figure out a system that works for your skill set. And that course really helped me hone in on what I was good at. And then because I dealt with issues and problems before, I was able to say, that's what that was. Right. Whereas if I was just going there fresh with no sheep, I'd be like, oh, that would never happen to me. Yeah. Right. Whereas I've been through it. I was kind of at the wall when I took the course, and it was like, oh, check. Like, got it. I did that wrong. I did that wrong. Yeah. I did that wrong, which was great because finally someone was giving me answers as to, I don't care about how to do things right. Show me Tell me what I'm doing wrong.
And tell me, fix it. Help me figure out a way to
show
fix
me
it.
how to,
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to be doing to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it doesn't happen.
that
again.
turned the tide really on the sheep farm. And from that moment on, I started to get my wings, I would say, after that.
Good to know. So I've got like a few more years.
Yep. You're fine. You're fine.
I always say that. Now I have fallen in love with the sheep, and I honestly think if I could, that would be the animal that I would have on the farm. But again, I'm a year in, I have 6 sheep, and I have done lambing once.
Right.
And I actually had to call Sandy the first lambs. I was like, I don't know, help.
Because they were surprised.
Yes,
you weren't
they
prepared.
were surprised. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
The mom wasn't feeding. Like it was a lot of things that could go wrong, went wrong.
It was great that it was the first one.
Yes.
Because then all the rest that go right.
Oh, it was so easy after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had one incident with a sick ewe, but she made it through and had babies and all was well. So I was pretty lucky that way. But you didn't start with sheep farming. Going back to when you were young, you were raised on a dairy farm?
Right.
Yeah.
So I was one of 3 girls.
Which is awesome.
Yep.
Yep.
So we did chores. We were dad's hired men just because we didn't, or hired person because we didn't.
You were born into the family and that's what you do.
Well, we didn't have enough money to hire anyone else. So this was in the 80s where things were, not the greatest.
Interest rates were dumb. And
interest rates were stupid.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not what's going to happen here shortly.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed. Yeah.
We don't need a repeat of the 80s.
No.
Especially the hair.
Yeah. I like the hair.
90s okay.
Yeah.
80s
not so much.
No. I grew up on milking cows. So we would milk cows when we were old enough. We milked cows before and after school, but pretty much from when I can remember, we were either feeding or milking cows, cleaning out pens every Saturday morning when I wanted to play basketball.
Go hang out with
all
your
the
friends.
things. Yeah. Yes.
And the friends never understand.
No, friends. Yeah, they didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then went to University of Guelph for an agriculture business degree, and that's when I met Mark.
Yep.
And ended up getting married right after school, and actually joined their family's broiler breeder, which is poultry business. And I helped manage those. It was a pretty large operation, and we hit lots of roadblocks in that operation as well. So I was there for 13 years.
Wow.
And then we finally, Mark and I did, the whole family just, we did some succession work and just decided, Mark and I this is that fierce independence. We wanted to do
your own
something. We want to branch out on our own. And it just wasn't looking like we were ever going to be able to really break loose of this big, massive poultry business. So, but thankfully his dad said, we'll try to do this, which takes years to get a family farm broke up and
for sure it does. Yeah.
For tax reasons and to make
in the
things
financial industry
to make things fair.
Yeah.
Right. So I do give his dad like a ton of credit because that's a hard thing to do, just to make sure everybody's set and fair. So here we are, and we're running an 1,800 acre grain farm and then 400 sheep,
which is amazing.
Yeah.
So like that's a huge difference in like cows, chickens, sheep, grain sheep.
Yes.
Like that's a lot of things to cover.
It's funny because yesterday I was on a Zoom call and they were asking about my history too, and I said it's funny because I said the sheep have the brain of a chicken but the stomach of a cow. So you've
covered all your ground.
We've kind of figured we have a little compromise on what animal. Sheep was just meant to be, I guess.
That's well, because so in my mind, sheep are a little bit more, they're easier than cows.
Smaller.
But yes, I still think they're easier.
Good for you.
Yeah, so far.
Because you did have dairy cows, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did have one dairy cow, and him and I did not get along.
Ooh.
So.
Because it's a he.
It's a he. They're not very
the girls
nice.
are a little different.
Yeah, I've never had a female dairy cow. I've only had female Highlands. But then moving into sheep, but then chickens they die so much easier than sheep do. So there's a lot of work. Like I can't imagine going from it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Lots of learning. I've had a lot of, I love to learn things.
Yes,
I love, as much as I sometimes am scared of change because I'm a creature of habit. Like I do like habitual, routine, mundane things. I still do love challenges. So I hate when stuff goes wrong, but at the same time, I love what I learn.
You kind of
like
feed
I
off
love
of it a little bit.
a little bit, which
it's
is
okay.
bad.
That's right. I did too.
But I did love learning the broiler breeder business when I was in it, because it was such a niche-y business. Like wasn't a lot of producers in that. Someone like the sheep, like there's not a lot of us, but it's such an interesting industry.
Yeah.
And one that doesn't really, it's not like a front running thing, but it's because people just like to look at sheep as lawnmowers.
Yeah.
But it's such a cool growing industry because it's popular.
Well, and there's a lot to it. There's like, it's not just meat. It's wool.
Right.
Like I don't know what
I
else you would
wish
use.
there was an industry for the wool.
I know.
We're gonna change things.
It's funny because I that was my first experience with shearing in March, I think it was.
Right.
And the shearer was lovely. Just super nice gentleman, came in, did such a great job, and then I paid him, and he's like, "So I'll send you a check for the wool," and I'm like. You get a check for the wool? And he's like, yeah, I'll send you. It'll be in the mail. And I was like, how much is it going to be? Just out of curiosity. And he's like, I don't know, like $20-$30. And I'm like, just keep it.
Yeah.
Like it's not even.
You can keep that and buy yourself some supper on the way home.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
It's unfortunate because it is such a low,
it's an amazing resource.
It's like you can use it for insulation, it's clothing, it's like there's so many things that wool can be used for, and unfortunately it's being underutilized.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So moving on a wee bit, you have 2 children.
I do.
Yes.
Not even children anymore.
I know they're getting old. Sorry. Yeah,
it's okay. We have that in common.
I know.
You just have a little one to keep you.
I have one little
young.
one to keep me young.
That's right.
And she reminds me of Jess, actually.
Yes.
It's funny because watching Jess and then watching Michaela, and I'm like, oh yeah,
I can see it.
Yeah.
In a few years.
So Jess, your daughter, helps you guys on the farm.
Yes, very much more Mark. She'll help me when I'm in a pinch.
Not a big fan of the sheep.
Not a huge fan.
Okay.
Not a huge fan. And she's just fallen in love with the grain farming side of things.
Amazing.
She loves the technology. She's good at it. Much better at it than me, and way less fighting over the CV radios when I have to ask Mark how to change a setting on the GPS. So yeah, she's been a godsend. She was supposed to go to university this past year, but because of COVID, she actually deferred. So she is leaving us in September.
That's so sad.
So all my babies will be gone.
And your son, he's an electrician?
He is in electrical engineering at Fanshawe. So he is in his 3rd year. He was lucky enough. His program is a co-op program. So
nice.
Yeah, when COVID hit, actually, he had just finished his 2nd semester. And just by who you know, not what you know, he met up with a guy that works at a automation, really cool robotic automation plant in London, which is where he's taking school, and asked him to come in for an interview, and he got hired. So he started work. He basically June 1st.
Right after school.
June 1st last year, that he worked all summer with them. And then September, it just went in right into his co-op program. So he was really lucky because a lot of his classmates didn't get anything.
It's not a tough industry, but it is kind of a tough industry. It's a niche industry. It's
niche, and it's interesting. It's one of those things that there aren't any women in it.
I know.
There's no girls. A poor guy. He's like, I might go back to school just to get some experience. So yeah, the poor kids had such a crappy few years at school just from not he was. And the thing is, they're going younger. So he's a November baby. So his whole first year, he wasn't of age to go to do what university kids do.
Yes.
And then
what's that, Sandy? Do tell.
Well, I wish I could. I don't remember. And then he didn't turn 19 till November, and then it was Christmas break, and they were back for only a couple months.
Right.
And then COVID hit. So the poor kid, there wasn't a lot of partying or anything going on.
I think a lot of the university kids right now are like, this sucks.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be my years.
Yeah. I'm thinking maybe September might be
I think fingers crossed.
A go show. Yeah. But no, he's doing really, really well. And he really has found he really liked it there. He liked the guys he was working with.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And he's learned so much. So he's back at school this semester for a summer semester. And he's already been able to, he said, I know what they're talking about now, because he's all very practical now. He's into labs,
which is really nice for him, because it's just an evolving point at this point in time.
And it's such a it's a business. He looked at that program. He said, yes, I could follow in mom and dad's footsteps. I could go to Guelph. I could get an agriculture degree. But he goes, where you guys need help is in all the tech stuff.
That is amazing.
In all the programming.
That his brain went to that point.
Yeah, because he's trying to figure out like what gives me passion. And he's always been a gamer and like ripping apart stuff and figuring out how stuff works. And so it fits so well in agriculture, because we run such high tech stuff, and we have to hire, like, Mark can figure it out. Like, he's good that way, but man, it'd be nice to have an in-house person that could just do that.
And I think that's a point that a lot of people don't understand, is there's more to farming than planting crops and raising animals.
And it's getting more and more just really reliant on internet and robotics and automation and Elon Musk.
Yeah. Hello, Elon.
Yeah. Elon is Jack's idol. So he was trying to find a thing that how we want to kind of leave it for the kids is, yes, you can come home and farm. We'd love it if you had something that gives you passion on your own.
Yeah.
So if you can figure out what that is and integrate it, I've got YouTube, right? Like, I do have a side little function. It took me a long time to figure out what that was, but it really helped me have my own identity outside the farm. And I think that's really important, because we really do, when you put everything you are into something that really, for the most part, you don't have a lot of control over.
No,
like, there's a lot of circumstances. I think it can affect our mental health. And I said, I think you really need to find something that gives you passion that's outside of it. If you can integrate it within it, great.
Perfect.
But like, especially if they both want to come home, like, that's when I'm like, find something else, and then you can both do this together.
Something that integrates into the business that's not necessarily something that's already been doing.
Right.
Like, you want to make it your own thing, so that you always have something to lean back on that's just yours.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And it's what's gonna keep you. Farming's right. Like, it is very. It will keep you getting up in the morning, but man, it's nice to have just a little plan B, a little nest egg, because it's just so. You just never know what's going to happen.
You don't know if you I know they see what we go through from a very young age. Right. Like, I know my
right
kids,
or wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But my kids have seen how we functioned. Mm-hmm. I guess is a good way to put it. Functioned. Because it was barely functioning, but we were functioning. Yep. As we started a new business, and it was a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of time that you're committing to that. And you'll know that from starting sheep, from farming nights, like it doesn't end. No, it doesn't. We're constantly on it. And the kids, for me, it's really important that they see how that works. Like, you're not the 9-to-5 job where there's nothing wrong with working a 9-to-5 job, but it's not 9 to 5. You are on call basically 24/7.
And we live where we work. Yeah. So it means you can't just leave it. Like, even if you do have a morning off, you're drinking your coffee, and I'm like literally looking at the bar and
going, do you get mornings off?
No.
You don't. Yeah.
Like, well, it depends.
Depends. You don't.
Depends. Yeah. Depends if I make myself.
If you leave the farm.
Then
But then do you still call in?
No, but I have cameras.
Yeah, exactly. See, you don't get a morning off.
Total personal choice. Yeah, I do it to myself. I do it too. I can't blame the work. I can't blame it. That's just you. That's just a sick obsession. Yeah.
I don't know if I think it's just, that's your baby. You have to take care of it, right? And you have to nurture it. And it's not something that really gets older.
But you do have to find people that you trust that they can fill in when you're not there. And I haven't checked my phone once.
Yeah, good job. Yeah. That's awesome. I've checked it
been like
twice
an hour.
So we just found it on Friday, beginning of the week, that we can open on Friday.
I know.
So it's been a bit of a chaotic situation on the farm. And we're joining the London Western Fair Farmers Market as well next weekend. So getting ready to open for Friday. And then now we're going to be heading to London next week to set up a booth at the London Western Fair, which is amazing. It's going to be an every weekend thing.
That's great.
But it's like, so my baby is now having to be monitored 24/7 because there's so much that has to happen between now and then. So I know the feeling of like, okay, so I'd like to take a break. Yeah. And I'd like to enjoy this morning coffee, but I know there's 200 bazillion things that need to get done.
It's going to go in a travel mug today.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So such is my life.
But like me, we sacrifice just by, we spoil ourselves with good coffee.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're pretty lucky. So you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Sheepishly Me. Mark has a YouTube channel.
Yep.
What's his? I'm sorry, Mark.
Mark Brock. Yeah. And even mine is Sandi Brock. Like, we're not very original, but
no, it is.
But the channel is like just cheekish called Sheepishly Me. Yeah.
And then Jess has a YouTube channel.
She does.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of evolved. Did she start first, or did you have one before she did?
I started first. Yeah.
And then
she was pretty. She was pretty little when I started. Like, I started in 2017, so she would have been, I don't know, old enough to be embarrassed by mom.
Yeah. I'm at that point right now.
Yeah. But she started about a year ago, pretty consistently, and she really likes it.
I know. I've seen her. So Michaela, of course, adores Jess. So she's like, she watches. And I'm sorry, Michaela. I know she's embarrassing Michaela right now.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And Jess will love it.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. And it's nice that she's done this because I've watched a few of her episodes too. And she's basically showing young women that this is cool and this is what we can accomplish. And
she doesn't take herself that seriously.
That's amazing.
The thing about some people, if they grab a camera and they want to be an influencer, they want to do anything, they just take themselves so damn seriously. It's like, guys,
but you can see it in what
relax.
She's doing.
Like, just have fun with it. And so she doesn't really care. Like, she's not doing it for really any reason, for the sake of it. Makes a little bit of money for her,
which is great
on the side. It's a nice side little hustle. And it's a great way to journal. She said, really, honestly, she's like, I wanted to do this because I wanted to film my first day at university.
Which is amazing.
Like, that's why she started the channel last year, thinking she was going to go to university. So
this year, Jess
she just turned it into her, her life on the farm. And sometimes it's just her snowmobiling. Sometimes it's her, she's not out there to try to teach anybody anything, but she's a lot like me. We're just showing people that we can do it,
which is perfect.
We are doing it.
Yeah. But for me, it's really important that Michaela sees those strong female leads. Yeah. That not that men aren't also leads, but I think a young girl growing up in a farming community needs to see that she can do those things. Yep. And there's no reason why she can't.
And that's why I get a bit discouraged, because a lot of people that watch some of the farming channels, bless them, are maybe older men who have maybe done it for years and years and years, and they'll be like, just do it this way or do it this way. And it's like, just let her figure it out.
Yeah. And she will.
Let her figure it out. And don't discourage a girl taking the time to put herself on camera, showing people that she screws up and what she gets frustrated with, much like me. Don't come down on her saying she's weak or she's whatever when there's other little girls watching. Yeah. And maybe some of those little girls could be your grandchildren, your granddaughter that wants to like this is when I really wish our own people, our own community could really support instead of be a keyboard warrior. Yeah. Like just say, or don't say anything at all.
Don't say anything at all. So if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all.
She's a 18-year-old girl.
She's just figuring things out.
Trying to hook up that wagon, right? Like,
and believe me,
it's just really frustrating.
I cannot hook up a wagon for the life of me.
Yeah. I've like
back up a trailer.
Many rants.
Yeah.
Many rants. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So success on that. She's doing well. Mark's doing well. You're doing well. Let's talk a little bit about your silver button.
Oh, the silver play button.
It came last year.
It did.
Around this time last year, wasn't it?
Well, so I hit 100. When did I hit 100,000? Oh my gosh. I should remember that.
Yeah. I don't remember either. So
I don't remember. I got the button later because I think I got it in January of 2020. Right. January 2020. And then I got the silver play button a few months later because I didn't know you had to apply for it. I thought they'd just send you it.
Well, they should.
Because come on.
Yeah, you put all that work in.
Aren't I something now?
Yeah, you're a celebrity.
Yeah, nothing. Yes. Nothing. Oh my God. That was so embarrassing. It was awesome. But the thing about me, and probably the thing about a lot of people that do this stuff, is you always raise the bar.
Of course.
So like when you're starting at 1 subscriber, 2 subscribers, you're like, can you imagine if I get to 100,000 subscribers?
Amazing.
You don't feel any different.
No. Well, don't tell me that.
You don't. Like, you're just like,
actually, I should say that.
You're just like, great, awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
But it's like, I haven't changed as a person. It hasn't really changed my life. It's helped me justify the channel to my family and to my friends who thought I was crazy a little bit.
Well,
but I don't even think they really care. Like, I think we care, but I'm not too sure it's going to keep anybody else up at night.
I do think it's a personal thing.
It really is.
I really do think
it's our own personal golf game. Yeah.
Because I'm always like, oh, okay, I did this. Now what can I do next? And
you're always trying to improve and up your stuff, up yourself, and
what can I do differently? And I recently switched. I was editing with iMovie, and I switched to Adobe Premium Pro.
Yep,
that's what it's called.
Premiere Pro. That's what Mark uses as well.
Oh, it's a lot different.
Oh
yeah.
I switched from iMovie after using it for 4 years to Final Cut Pro, and I thought I was going. I thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
But now that I'm on it, like, it took me a week maybe to get onto it, and now I'm like, it's great because, well, I'm not going to talk about editing, but it's life-changing. It's so much better.
Good to know. Because I'm struggling with Premiere right now.
Well, and if you're used to iMovie and you have a Mac, then Final Cut works really good. But
I should try it out. I know, because I know it's.
But
I'm learning.
Mark really likes Premiere Pro.
So I switched to a MacBook because everyone kept telling me it was so much easier to use. But when you've used PC your entire life,
and it's not.
It's so not.
No.
I was like,
and not if you don't have the phone to airdrop stuff.
No, nothing.
No.
So I am learning.
Yep.
It's a process. You also have an podcast, you and Mark together.
Well, we started one last year.
Yeah.
But season 2, we filmed a few, and then we never publish them. Yeah.
It's tough.
Well, we like to do them in the winter.
Yeah.
And we just didn't finish them. So now they're not they're not relevant now. So we'll probably start them up again. I just have to. It's hard. It's hard to get motivated. Like when there's 2 of us that have to do it together. And then who's going to edit it? Well, so we'll see. So season 2 will hopefully happen because we have I love the discussions Mark and I have on, and we say this would be unpopular in our community. So we call the podcast Unpopular Farmer because it's like, it's our own personal chats that we're like, oh my God, can you imagine if we actually said this at a meeting or like on Twitter? We would be like the black sheep we'd be canceled for sure. Yeah. So that's kind of what we wanted to base the podcast around. But Mark did a big Nuffield study last year, which is a travel. It's basically kind of like a global tour kind of thing, if you will. And it's almost like a master. So you kind of have a thesis, you kind of have a project you want to do it on. And then you visit different farms and develop different case studies and then come up with your final.
Was that when he was in New Zealand?
New Zealand, Australia. Yeah.
Fun.
More so Australia, because New Zealand, that's when we got, come on home. We are shutting the doors.
Right. That was right when COVID hit last year, which was kind of crummy.
It was scary.
You had just gone down,
really,
didn't you?
Yeah. I was there for like a whopping 7 days or 10 days. Yeah. 10 days and 3 days traveling or something. Like, it wasn't.
That's not fun.
No. Jet lag was a brute.
There you go. Come on home.
Yeah.
You're like, I haven't even recovered from jet lag yet.
And we were living in a van.
Oh, fun.
We did New Zealand in a van.
That's cool.
So we were just kind of getting.
Stinks that you had to cut it short.
Yeah, we were just kind of getting through because he had a few farms he wanted to see, and then we were just kind of getting in vacay mode a little bit, and then it was like, you have to come home.
I know you went to a few sheep farms while you were there.
We didn't.
I thought you were going to.
We were going to.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it never happened.
I feel like we had that conversation.
Yeah, we didn't. We went to a couple dairy farms, and like we drove by lots. But
like,
sheep. The one I was really excited to go to, 2 that I wanted to.
And then you had to
just
cut
never.
it. Yeah.
Because New Zealand, you think you're going to get right there, but you drive forever. And never. It's crazy because it's all winding and hills.
Yeah, like it takes you an hour.
It takes
to
you
go
a long
5
time.
kilometers. Yeah.
So there was a lot of places that it was
things.
like 2 hours out of the way. If you want to go visit her for 45 minutes, then yeah.
You're like, great.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we just ixnayed some of that.
You won an award this year.
Oh, the farm and food care.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It was so now it's funny. Like you think when you're starting all this, it's like, oh, wouldn't that be great? And it's like now I'm like, I feel like I don't know. I think
it's awesome.
I think partly because I've made it a business now.
Right.
So now when they're like, well, you're doing all this stuff, you're doing YouTube and you're doing this, I'm like, yeah, but I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm doing it for very selfish reasons. If I'm helping the community along with me, great. But I also don't want that pressure of like, I never want people to think I'm speaking on behalf of the industry for them.
No.
Because I think that's how we run into trouble. We think we hire these people to do the talking for us because we don't want to do it. And I think that we're also very different but in the case of this award, it was peer nominated. And that's
pretty amazing.
My biggest thing is I'm so scared of what my peers think and what my peers think of me. And
I think that's a female thing, honestly.
I'm always like, the channel's so perfectly named because I'm so scared of people.
Yeah.
Like I'm so sheepish of like, did I say that right? Will that offend anybody? Do people think
You're
I'm
preaching to the
doing
choir.
this for the wrong reasons? So I overthink everything. Like Mark just gets so like, oh.
Yeah.
Because it's all I talk about. So I guess in a way, when the award came to be, then I was like, is this disingenuous? Because like I'm monetized, like I am doing this. It is a significant part of our business now.
Yeah.
And it's like, because the farmers don't really know that. I think they think I'm wasting my time.
I don't know because
it's kind of fun. I get all that. I get,
aren't you cute?
Oh, isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Look at you. And it's like, right.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, goodbye.
Yeah. Thank God. My sister does our books now for us. So she's on the inner circle and she's just like, holy cow.
Oh, it's fun.
She's like, good for this is amazing.
Yeah.
And now I have someone I can share like, so like today when I shared that thing about Mary, I'm like, do you follow so-and-so? And like all these opportunities that come up because I've put myself out there is like literally kind of dreams come true in a way. Like it's just opened up so many doors that I've taken for granted, or I've just kind of like hush them because I don't want people to think that.
But you shouldn't.
I don't deserve it or whatever.
Because you do. There's a lot of like, I don't think people realize how much work
it's so much
goes
work.
Into not just YouTube, but like you're doing your YouTube channel and you're trying to raise sheep. And so every chore that you do is now taking you twice as long to get it done because you've got a camera in your hand.
Well,
or you're trying to get that perfect shot so that everyone else can enjoy it as well, right? It's not necessarily for you specifically.
It's really not.
It's to show other people.
Yeah.
So you're making sure that shot is perfect, yet trying to
do the actual
pull a lamb out.
job.
And it's basically your day, which would have been 5 hours, is now 10 hours.
Yes, it takes a lot longer to do jobs now, and then editing on top of that. But like I think the other day I was filming something, I think just on Insta story or something, and I said, "This is really hard to do with my left hand." She goes, "Everyone, probably 10 people said, 'What's wrong with your right?'" I'm like, I'm holding the phone.
Yeah.
I'm right-handed.
Can't
do it all. The phone with my left.
Do you want to see this? Yeah.
So,
well, then I got to use
so
that.
they get a good chuckle out of that. It's like, right.
Yeah. Because people forget. They don't, because they don't see
I don't
you
have
holding it.
I don't have a videographer.
Yeah. I don't have a film crew behind me. It's
it's a lot. It is a lot. It's and figuring out how to film to edit is an art all on its own, because you don't want to edit. I don't want to edit 30-minute chunks. I want to edit 30-second chunks.
You want that little tiny bit out, and then you can move on to the next shot.
Yeah,
for
so
sure. Totally
there's a lot
that.
of things, and the time I've spent to research this craft, like I've really treated this as an art and a craft, not a hobby, not, like I would have said it was a hobby at the beginning so people didn't think, right? Like everyone's allowed to have a hobby, but they're not allowed to have like a part-time job, I guess, maybe.
No.
But yeah, I spent hours researching, how to edit, how to make a thumbnail, all the things. So
good for you for research. I'm going to have to pick your brain about thumbnails.
it's an art.
It is. And it's all an art. It really is.
And honestly, and my problem is if the video doesn't perform like I want it to, I'll change it 5 times.
Yeah.
So I can never just let it go and just say, okay, let's work on the next video. I'm like, no, this is a good video. I worked 10 hours on it. I want more people to watch it.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I never
really
give
bad
up
for that.
Yeah.
And it's good. That's good that you don't give up, because I think having that, making the video quality that good, it just draws that many more people in. Right. So I know the tedious, it's been 10 hours now and my video's still not done. You know,
and then the upload process, that whole thing, that all takes time, right? Like uploading it to YouTube and then maybe re-uploading it because it got stuck at processing or whatever. So and
then they ridicule you for the music you put in or
whatever. All the time.
Yeah.
I'm not getting rid of it because that makes my editing so much more joyous. It makes it more joyous for me because I don't want to hear my voice all the time.
No, I'm the same. I'm the same. So you did, and you wrote a children's book. Like, where do you have time?
Okay, no, I did that long time ago.
Okay, well, that's cool.
That was my first creative outlet when I was I was actually in a really dark place when I wrote that. Like,
that's not good.
It's pretty, like, it's more for the parents, not necessarily for the kids, but it's a very tongue-in-cheek when I was working in the poultry barns and had young kids and trying to kind of balance it both.
You just put it out there.
Well, I will bring you. I should have brought you a book.
That's
today.
hilarious.
I'll bring you a book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to read. I've seen it obviously. I know it exists. But
so I did that with my friend Virginia.
Oh, fun.
She's an art, like she's a designer, and she's like, I'm not an artist. I'm like, you're an artist. You'll be fine.
Yeah, just do it.
Because she makes little comics and stuff, and I've seen her do it. So I said, here's the poem. I literally wrote a poem in a day, and I just said, this is how I want to broke up. A book. And just, I want you to write the text out, and I want you to write the pictures. I want it all very messy and like me. And she did it.
And it's awesome.
Yep.
And it's on your, so you started your shop this year?
Yeah, my website.
Was it this year or last year?
November.
Yeah.
November of 2020.
Sorry, this year's like a complete blur.
It's just a blur.
I remember talking to you about it.
2020 and 21 is just like a run-on year. Yeah.
Done. Yeah. And it's doing really well.
Yeah, that's been, that was, to be honest, that was something I didn't want to do.
Yeah, I remember
have a website, and manage a website and have a store and deal with logistics of that.
Yeah.
So how I got around that is I did hire a wonderful girl, Christina, who helped me probably for a year and a half because I kept changing my mind. So we were on and off and on and off. And then finally she's like, just let me do this for you. So she did that. And then the store is actually run by a fulfillment company in Wyoming.
Which is cool.
So in the US, which Canadians don't understand.
Right.
But when I tried to find a fulfillment company in Canada, it's just crickets. Like I don't know how to, I tried to ask people that knew people, is there anyone that can, run, get me the clothing or the whatever I'm doing.
Store it and ship it out.
Store it, inventory, ship it out. Yeah. And I didn't have a lot of time to research that. So what I did is I've made contacts through social media.
Yeah.
And a dear friend, Meredith from North Carolina, said, well, this is who I deal with, because she had a few people approach her. And I loved her store and I loved her stuff.
Yep.
So I jumped on that, and it's been great.
Yeah, it works.
And she deals with the returns and any postage, because shipping has been a nightmare this year because of COVID, but people don't understand that still. So yeah, there's been a few flub ups, but for the most part, the good thing about community is that they understand and they're just excited to get it when they get it.
I love seeing the pictures of people getting their things, because nobody's disappointed. Like everyone's super excited when they get their whatever it is that they purchase.
And so am I. Like I wear your sweater all the time.
See, exactly.
My friend Virginia wants a sweater. Like, and it's so just to like for Christmas, that's what we do. We get each other's favorite YouTubers merch for them. And it's the greatest gift because they are like tickled.
Like what you just brought me, stuff.
Oh, from the sheep game.
Yeah. I'm like, am I not supposed to say that?
Cammy. No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which is awesome.
I know.
So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. So it's just things like that. You meet people and get their
and
stuff.
It's so nice to support them.
Yeah.
And yeah, for sure. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I want to thank you. This has been so much fun.
Good.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked for a long time.
Oh, well, whatever.
That's what we do. You
That's
can
what
edit.
we do. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm coming over for a little bit. And I'm like 4 hours later.
Well, this is insane. I just wasn't expecting this.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we get to do this again.
Yes,
soon.
we will.
It would be fun to get Belinda on here, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
She's got big stuff going on this year.
Yeah, like big
stuff.
big stuff.
Not just the cows.
Not just the cows.
Yeah.
No, or the sheep. Lots and lots of things
She's got
going
lots
on.
of things.
So we'll do a little girls chat.
We'll do that.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Okay.
Okay, cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.